Now let's go over question number 760, find anagram mappings. Now the question says, given a two list A and B, so we're gonna be given two arrays A and B is an anagram of A. So B is an anagram of A. B is an anagram of A. So what this means is B is made by randomizing the order of elements in A. So we know that A and B are going to have same elements. That's what it means to be an anagram. But something that they changed for this problem is that B is randomized. We want to find a index mapping of P from A to B. A mapping at P index I is equal to J means the ith element in A appears in B at index J. The list A and B may contain duplicates. If there are multiple answers, output any of them. So it doesn't matter. We can just output any of the index that we get. Now let's look at our example. So if you look at our array A and B, they all have the same elements. So we have 12 here, 12 here, 28, 28, 46, 46, 32, 32, 50, 50. It's just that array B is randomized, and that was given by our problem over here. So what we have to do is, for each element in our array A, we have to find where it is in array B. So 12 is at index 1, so we put 1 here. Where's 28? 28 is at index 4, so we put 4 here. 46 is index 3, 32 is index 2, and finally 50 is at index 0. So we return an array with indexes as our result. If you guys find this helpful, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thanks. Now let's implement our first solution, and our first solution is going to have a time complexity of O of n squared and space of O of n. Now we take two parameters A and B where they're both an array with numbers, and we want to return also an array with numbers, but our numbers this time is going to be indexes for each element at array A. Now let's create a variable. We're going to call this output, and this is going to be an empty array for now. Just return that over here. That looks good. And now let's iterate through all the elements in our array A. So to do that, we'll just use a for loop for let I is equal to 0 is less than a.length, and we increment by 1 each time. Now you want to be able to get current elements at index B, right? So in order to do that, we'll just simply use index of. And after we get our index, we want to add it to our output. So that's going to be output.push. And how do we get our index? Well, it's going to be B index of, and we pass in our current element, which is going to be A at index I. And as you can see, we have our result. So that's actually it. This is O of n squared because we're having our outer loop here, and index of is actually a O of n operation. So for loop inside a for loop, it's going to be a quadratic. So that's why it's O of n squared. Now let's optimize our solution so that it has a time complexity of O of n, but still it's going to have a space of O of n. Now in order to optimize my time complexity, what I want to do is I want to create a map of my array B. So map is going to obviously have key value pairs, right? Just like an object, and it looks just like an object too. And our keys are going to represent the elements itself, so numbers itself, and our values are going to represent the index of each element. So 50 will have a value of 0, 12, 1, 32, 2, so on and so forth. So now let's do that. So I'll call my map as map, and let's instantiate new instance over here. And now we need to add our elements to our map. And how do we do that? Well, let's use a for loop for let I is equal to 0. We want to increment the whole thing, so b.length, and we increment by 1 each time. Now we need to be able to add the element to our map, right? So that's going to be map.set. So it's setting our key value pairs to map. And first element is going to be our key, and our key is going to be our current element. That's going to be b at index I, and we want to add in our current index, which is represented by I. Now if you were to console log our map, you can see that we have our key value pairs. 50 is at index 0, 12 at 1, 32 at 2, and You can see the rest over here. So our map is looking good. Now let's create a variable named result or output, and let's return it here. And up here we'll do let output, and this is going to be an array. Right, that looks good. And now we need to be able to find the given index for each element and just push it into our output. So let's do that. Now we need to be able to iterate through our elements for array A. For this one, let's just use for of loop. So for const current value of A. Now I need to get the values which represent the index, right? So that's going to be map.get, and we just simply pass in our current value. But before that, we have to actually push it into our output. So output.push, and you can see that we have our final result, which looks good, right? So for this one, what we did was we created a new map and added our key value pairs where key represent the elements itself and value represent the index. And after we did that for all the elements, we iterate through our array A and look for the current element in the new map and return the index or the value of that number. And we just add it to our output variable. If you guys find this helpful, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thanks.